Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Open Mic Foundation, and the group is Open Mic for Women. I am the founder, Pelokazi Natyi, and welcome so much for joining us today on the Sunday afternoon. It is a warm, sunny winter's afternoon today, and it's actually quite warm today in South Africa. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Welcome. We have Pelokazi Natyi that's joining us. She's a spiritual coach and a truly dear friend to me. So welcome, Pelokazi.
Thank you, Sash, and thank you for having me. And yeah, good afternoon, depending on where your people are, but good afternoon to all the people that are watching. Thank you.
Yep, they're all around the world. So thank you everyone for whoever's joining and coming to the platform this afternoon. Just some information. I think Open Mic is a storytelling platform. It's giving a space, for someone to speak your truth, giving you the space to to be heard, and more especially to inspire others to believe in their stories, and to understand what people actually go through. I do believe, the impact of changing society today is within ourselves and the stories that we share across the world. And hopefully these stories that are being shared on the Open Mic platform inspires people, to come out and to share, whether it's a personal story, whether it's a business story, whatever you have, let's share more about the stories that we actually experience. Instagram, you can follow Open Mic on Instagram handle on Open Mic Foundation. You can find us on the YouTube channel, also Open Mic Foundation, and we're on Facebook as well, where we are streaming right now. So thank you everyone for joining. I am going to hand it over to Pelokazi. Yeah, so you can go through, Pelo.
Oh, okay. I think we agreed that we'll do a little bit of poetry that would set the theme of the pace for our chat today. So yes. I'll start with my very first poem that I ever wrote. And the poem is called Let Me Speak. Well, I think it's appropriate because we're talking about speaking our truth. So this is how I see the world. And in this poem is some of my personal stories and stories of other people as I saw the world. So, all right, it goes like this. I speak from the depths of my soul when I say I have no color. I speak from the depths of my soul when I say I have no gender. When I came to this earth, I knew no color. When I was born into this earth, I knew no religion. When I joined the army called the human race, I didn't know I had a gender. When I incarnated again into this planet, I didn't know there was something called a country. That is until you humans decided to put labels on me. You said, do not play with boys because you are a girl, you said. You said, don't play with them because they are colored, you said. You said, don't make friends with us because you are black, we are white, you said. I looked at coal because you said coal was black. I looked at me and I saw no blackness. So what am I? I looked at myself and retraced the steps of my ancestors. In my blood, I found people of the sun, I did. In my blood, I found settlers of Dutch origin. So what am I? Let me speak, because human, you have told me I have no place amongst men. I found my passion playing rugby. You said I shouldn't because I was a girl, you said. You said I found no said. You looked at me and said, oh, she's so ugly. She should have been a boy. Look at her brothers. They look so pretty. They should have been the girls, human. You said, let me speak. Because human, now that you call me a woman, you put me in my place, you say. You say to me, I should not display my crown of platinum because I am a woman. You say my ancestors will frown upon me for I show no respect, you say. Let me speak, human. Human, let me speak because you say I shouldn't adorn the pants I adore so much because I'm an African woman, you say. Decent African women do not display their African assets for all to see. When I adorn the pants, am I less of a woman human, I ask, let me speak. Human, let me speak because you say I should not speak unless spoken to. You say a respectful African woman should bow her head and not talk back. You say, let me speak from the pit of my spirit. Human, what if mine is a spirit or a soul of a soldier? What if mine is a soul of a warrior? Human, human, what if my spirit is a spirit of all religions? Human, what if my soul remembers China, remembers Spain? For my soul sings with a Spanish guitar. For my soul finds peace in meditation, and that is certainly not African. Human, what if I tell you I love all the colors that my creator so beautifully displays on this earth? What then, human? My soul is my soul. My soul is full of love, and I want to take away the blinds put in front of me by the human culture. Allow my soul to be free, human. Human, allow my soul to speak its truth without fear. When I was a child, I had no voice, but there was always a voice inside of me. Now that I'm called an adult, I still have no voice. But human, I choose to speak. I now see the world through the eyes of my wise angel, an angel that tells me, no, mama, stop being an adult and be an expression of your soul. Let me speak because in me lies the peace that is needed to end the wars. Let me speak because in me lies the solutions to end the human suffering. Let me speak because in me lies the reconciliation of religious factions. Let me speak because in me lies the destiny of my host planet. Let me speak, human, because I'm one of many. Let me speak, human, because I want to. Let me speak, human, because I have learned to forgive. Let me speak, human, because my soul wants to speak. Let me speak because I am the voice of the voiceless. Let me speak because I am authentically me.
Wow. That was absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Sash.
Did you write that?
Yes, I did. I wrote it in 2007. Yeah, I wrote it in 2007.
Wow. The words are absolutely powerful. That I can absolutely. It took my breath away. Absolutely powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Before we continue, Pelokazi, your brothers and I think your family is on the chat as well from a Zoom perspective.
Okay.
I'm not too sure if, I don't know if I admit them, they're going to be able to access. I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, please let them in, please.
But if I let them in, they're going to be on the talk.
No, it's fine, Sash, I think. Yeah, I think it's fine, Sash. Yeah. Because they asking if you could please let them in.
Yeah, but they're going to stream with us live. Their faces are going to show on here as well.
I don't know how you do it, but I don't mind. They're my brothers. They're me.
I hope I can let them in. I have no problem. Is that okay?
Please do. Please do.
Okay. So Doc's coming on. I have no idea.
Okay. And then Mteto also has just sent me a message to please let him in.
Okay, I did.
Yes, and Langa.
Langa,
yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
All right. All right, there we go. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, the Natyi family, for joining and coming through. No, we're all good. For joining and your presence and supporting Pelokazi. Thank you guys so much, Pelo. Your topic today, you know, a journey of personal transformation. That is, you know, I think in everyone's minds right now, everyone's, you know, hearts about personal transformation and how one's transforming. So I'm going to give it over to you. I mean, you've been on open mic before, you know, I'm going to ask you questions. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. So you asked me what it is that we should talk about today. And I said, I felt that because this month is a transformation month from open mic perspective, that maybe that's something that I could share about my own personal journey of transformation. Perhaps it's important for me to talk about what transformation is so that we all on the same page with regards to the topic today. If one can imagine a butterfly, because I think a lot of times that's what's often used as an example of what transformation is. You know, from the time the butterfly is an egg through the stage of being a caterpillar to the stage of chrysalis to where the adult butterfly emerges. If you go through those phases, transformation is pretty much that. Because it's something that, you know, when we're born with potential, right? There's potential that we sometimes become aware of, and there's potential of things that we're not aware of. So when you're born with that potential. Think of yourself as you came out and you became that caterpillar. And so certain things happen in your life that make you wake up to your own spirit. Because when we're born, remember, we're born into the physical bodies, but we're actually not physical beings. We are spiritual beings that are having a physical journey. A lot of times we don't understand why we are born into this planet, right? So we're born into this planet for growth at many levels. I mean, there's a lot of lessons that we get as we grow in our journey on Earth, right? So if you think of yourself now as a caterpillar that has a potential to be any sort of butterfly, that is when you are born, when you are a baby, right? And then you grow, and certain things happen around you, whether it's things that you socialize to or things that you learn, whether from other people or at school, or even, you know, from your interaction with other people. All of those things become part of your lesson. However, if we also understand that each person has got their own mission on the planet, their own, more or less like we have different fingerprints, something like that. Each one of us has a mission that we are supposed to fulfill in our journey on the planet. Now, that is aligned to who we are. Who we are is our spirit identity, all right? So when that spirit identity comes into play, that is when you're ready to sort of emerge your experiences to your spirit. So you rise as a spiritual being and you start seeing things not only from the perspective of what you've been taught, but you also find that what you were born to be or what you were born to do starts to manifest as you grow as a spiritual being. A lot of times we think this is something that you need to be taught by people. Maybe because some of the things that we learn and that help us to grow are things that we learn from others and things that other people do. But there's that one unique thing that you're supposed to be and to do on the planet. And so as you move from that stage of somebody that's got potential to manifesting who you are, to manifesting your mission on the planet, as you do that, you start also to realize that you can't unknow what you know. Because all those things that you've learned along the way become part of your journey. They become part of who you are. They become part of even the decisions that you make. One of the things that we need to do as we go through this journey is that we should not then judge our experiences. We tend to judge our experiences by saying they are good or they are bad. Or we judge even other people to say they've been good or they've been bad. And we also tend to say, people have done this and that to me, and we don't take ownership of what we've done on the planet, either to ourselves, to our journey, or even to other people. So now when we talk about transformation, you get to a stage where if you're looking at it from the butterfly perspective, that emergence of that adult butterfly becomes the emergence of that person. It's almost like a new person that comes out of that whole total experience, where you then get aligned to your, either you can call it your mission on the planet, you can call it your vision on the planet, you can also call it the alignment of who you are, how you express who you are on the planet. All right. So at that stage, this is now where you can say that's a new person, because this is the person that has now taken the total of all the things they've learned on the planet, aligned them to their spiritual path, or rather their spiritual purpose. And that is what you then become when you've transformed. It doesn't mean that you're going to be totally a new person that doesn't make mistakes, that doesn't do wrong, but you become a person that has an awareness of who you are. So you wake up to who you are. You wake up to the calling that you have. I mean, each of us have got an individual calling that we're born with. And so you wake up to that calling. A lot of people would say when they realize this is when they start realizing there's a certain passion that they get drawn to, or a certain purpose that they get drawn to. And you start realizing it then. You don't understand that you've been on the journey of aligning yourself to that throughout your life. You only think that at the time you are aware of it, it's only then that this is happening. No, it's something that started from before you were born, right up until the moment you wake up to your spirit. So your vibration, your spiritual vibration starts to become different. You start making choices that are aligned to who you are, to your purpose on the planet.
Pelo, do you think a lot of people have that awakening? Do you think people, I mean, like you said, you know, you clearly are born, or you clearly identify from a spiritual perspective before you're born, and people, as they grow older, you align to the choices that you make. Do you think everybody has that awakening in some part of their life?
I think a lot of people do. Some people, look, it's going to happen regardless. It's going to happen at different times in our lives. What we do not understand, or we never talk about, is the fact that we should not have an expectation that everybody should go through the same transformation at exactly the same time. It doesn't happen like that. Because remember, this is an individual journey. It's the journey of your spirit on the planet, right? So because it is that, you will awaken at your own time. So a lot of people do. Sometimes people are not even aware that they are. We just, it's useful when you know that this is a transformation, this is an awakening. It's useful to know that. But there's people that do that without even knowing why they're doing the things they do, why they're living the lives that they're living. They just think that it's just fine for them to do that. It is useful to know, because then you can align everything to that you are, or to that transformed self. So back to the answer, to the question that you asked me, do I think that everybody goes through a journey of transformation? I think everyone does, but the awakening happens at different times. Sometimes it happens just before a person dies. It's never too late. The timing is always right. It's right for you. It's right for your spirit. So we shouldn't have an expectation that everyone will have the same journey, the same things that are going to happen to them to make them aware of that. It's something that is unique to every person. It happens at different times, and it happens in different ways.
I hear you. Okay. Makes sense.
So as I said, it's an ongoing journey. I mean, it's something that you can't put time frames to and say it should happen when I'm this age, or it should happen when I'm old, or when I'm young. Other people, for them, it happens when they are younger. For a lot of people, it happens when they are older. But we honestly should not have an expectation of when it should happen, even for our own selves, because sometimes we tend to pressure ourselves. When you see everyone going through a certain journey, you feel, oh, I also should be going through this, because it's like it's the in thing. If it is not meant for you at that time, the awakening there is, if it is not meant for you at that time, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen when it is meant to happen. It's not up to you. It's up to the lessons, because sometimes you have to go through certain lessons before you awaken to who you are. So, yeah. And also understand it doesn't happen in a vacuum, because all the things that are happening in your life and your interactions with other people are what are going to help you to get to where you are, which goes back to the thing that I think we discussed in May, where we were talking about connectedness, that all of us are interconnected. So it goes back to that, because every single thing and every single being on the planet has a role in your journey, though it is your journey, and how you interact with them and with all of those things. When I'm talking about things, I'm talking, for example, like what is happening today. with COVID-19. It's a situation that we are interacting with. It's a situation that we believe we are victims of. But consider this. What if we're not victims of COVID-19? What if COVID-19 is here to teach us something? What if it is here to say to us, look, what is it that you can do? What is your role to humanity at this point? You are running the Open Mic Foundation, Sesh, and you might find that your contribution to humanity is exactly what you're doing right now. It is nice that I have my brothers on the platform right now, because I also relate to a few things that they are doing in their lives, which are feeding into finding solutions, helping people to wake up to self, to who they are, sharing their stories in a way that's going to assist others, or inspire others. So if for example, I talk about my eldest brother, Budimteto, he's here, but he's shared his story in business, and maybe his calling is around issues of business and healing businesses and helping other people to find something in themselves to align to their own unique journeys that are not necessarily business. Others will be something else. You look at my other brother, Ufundile, Doc, right? Yeah, Doc he's got a platform where he looks at issues of health and well-being. All right. So when you look at what he is doing, he is educating not just the nation of South Africa, but he's educating people globally about this phenomenon, about this pandemic. He is educating people and assisting and empowering people through conversations. And so that he is his path. You look at my other brother who is in the Eastern Cape, who Langa, he works with young people. That is his path, that is his calling. He's assisting young people. I mean, I'm proud to talk about my brothers because these are people that also inspire me. We come from a family where inspiration doesn't start outside, it starts internally. We inspire one another. I mean, if somebody needs to call you out so that you walk the right, well, I'll call it the right path, but maybe something that you are supposed to be. If they call you out, it's not out of being vindictive. You know that they're calling you out so that you can also go back and look at what you're doing or how you're doing things so that you can reshape them to align you to your true self, your true purpose. So that is why I'm not even shy to have my brothers right now on the platform. These are the people that inspire me. These are people that inspire the person that I have become. And it's not something that happened today as I am older. It's been happening throughout the years. There's several things that, there's several things that they've done, and there's several things that they've been. Sometimes we have to walk through challenges together and individually, and we find that somewhere along the line, we converge and we find that the lessons that we've learned, whether individual or collectively, those lessons help us in refining our paths. So that is also part of transformation. I'm talking about my family here, but there's a number of other people out there that have assisted me to go into a space where I am aligned to my spiritual path and I'm aligned to the transformation process that should be happening in my life.
That's outstanding. I mean, and to your point, we all help with different solutions in different forms and in different ways. I believe the calling that one has in one's journey is very different to everyone's. To your point, it's very different. Your DNA is different. Your path is different. The journey that you transition to is very, very different. Exactly to what you've just said and how you've described, your family. You described open mic, and the solution has sharing the stories throughout there. I do believe that one's individual story and how it's being told is something that helps people to heal. And when you bring all these stories together, it forms a united voice going forward. It needs to be echoed, it needs to be heard. And transformation is a huge part of that in society in general, right? So yes.
Look, Sesh, one thing I think I need to also talk about, because when we're going through a journey of transformation, I'm going to go back to the butterfly. Remember, it starts being something that crawls, and then it emerges and then it flies, right?
Yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
still crawling, it's ugly. A lot of times that's when we're making our mistakes. That's when we, there's trial and error that's happening there. And the more you do the trial and error, if you're not getting what you're supposed to be learning, the more of those lessons are coming your way, which is why I was saying, then don't judge the lessons. Don't judge the lessons. Take what is happening and say, what is it that I'm not getting here? What is it that I need to change? Where am I supposed to shift so that I am able to be the best of who I am? Not necessarily as a show off, no. The best of who you are in your expression of your being on the planet, right? So you rise to meet your greatness, not your smallness. Because if you're transforming, you can't transform to smallness because your spirit is greater than your body. So you can't transform into something that is smaller. Yeah, you transform into your greatness. Greatness is not arrogance. Greatness is being that is sensitive to their spirit, sensitive to your journey, sensitive to your calling, and being true to that path. And you need to live a life that is non-judgmental of your existence. Don't judge the things and compare. Don't judge things that are happening to you and compare with other people, because they have their own journey. They have their own challenges that you know nothing about. But you can only do what you can have control over, which is yourself and not other people. So this is just not merely a change, but it's a radical process where there's a raised vibration, spiritual vibration, and growth in consciousness. Other people, they go through it, and they go through it in a religious way. Other people will go through it in other ways. Other people will go through a dark time. And the dark time triggers this transformation. Right? So as I said, it's an ongoing process from birth right up until we die. However, there's a time where your awakening is triggered by something. It may be, let's say, for example, you lost somebody you love, and it taught you maybe to learn to not be so dependent on other people and learn to trust that people don't end on the planet, they transition to another form. If that is what you're supposed to learn, maybe it's going to be through a painful process of losing somebody, all right? But you also need to know that in life, as in all things like day and night, life is duality. It has a dark side, it has a side that is of light. Make sure that whatever choices that you make are aligned to your spirit. Your spirit is never dark. That's one thing for sure. That's an earth thing. So you then need to make sure that in this duality of life, you choose the things that are of the same vibration as your spirit, not things that will just only make you feel good in the flesh.
Yeah. I see where you're going with this, absolutely. I think, judgment, humanity is so full of judgmental, opinionated, and we look at things and we look at it and we say, okay, we are so quick to judge. We are so quick to judge. No matter what it is, we are really, really quick, to judge. I just wanna do that quickly. Here we go. Very, very quick to judge from that perspective. So it is quite, sad that, we do as human beings, we go through that and we judge according to what we see, what we feel. People are very judgmental on material things, and they don't see beyond that judgment. And I guess going through certain parts in their ways, things do change. We have, there's a few people on the call right now. I mean, just some messages for you. Hello, Amina says, people have a huge misconception about what an awakening is in general. Most people won't understand about the shifting until they've walked the path.
Yeah.
So just some comments. Thanks, Amina, for that. So yeah, I think it's quite an interesting take on how people shift and how people walk through that path. But the journey from a vibration perspective and what they feel and how they transition, over to that is a very profound way of how they do things and see things again.
Yeah. But Sash, let's not lose sight of the fact that this is not something that we necessarily will will necessarily make us perfect.
Yes.
Because there's this search for perfection. And that is so unrealistic. For as long as we're on the planet, we can never be perfect.
Absolutely.
We might perceive it as perfection, but there can never be perfection for as long as you're on the planet. The last stage of transformation, which is when you're transitioning from being a physical, being in the physical to going to spirit, in that last phase, maybe that is where we acquire perfection. I don't know. I haven't died yet. But for as long as you're on the planet, as long as you're on the planet, you can never be perfect. You will continue to make mistakes, whether you are aware of them or not. And in every interaction, everyone becomes your teacher. I don't know if you know the saying from Buddha, where he says, when the student is ready, a teacher will appear.
Yeah. Profound, absolutely profound. Yeah.
So transformation is exactly about that, because there's a lot of teachers that we get. What we do not understand a lot of times is that the teachers are not just people that are spiritual gurus. The person begging on the streets could be your teacher. They're teaching you compassion. That is your lesson. Somebody that is a proud person teaches you humility, because you then realize that pride maybe will not build you. That person is your teacher. So don't wait for a teacher that's going to be some guru from, like somebody that comes from a monk or a priest or a pastor, or don't wait for that. Don't wait for that, because this journey is not about judging the form in which your teacher comes. It is not about how many things they've acquired on the planet. It is not about how revered they are on the planet. No, it's not about that. Your teacher is a simple thing like a dog at home. A dog could be your teacher. So if we are mindful of all of creation is full of teachers for us. And every single thing that you learn from that teacher becomes part of your school on the planet. So your journey is aligned, each individual journey is aligned to all of those lessons then. And the transformation that happens as you go through all of those, what we choose to call challenges. We should be saying all of the classes that we attend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We learn so much and we're not mindful of what's actually right in front of us. We see and choose what we want to see. We choose and see what we want to hear. We don't acknowledge what's right in front of us. There was another topic on the youth topic last month where one of the youth says, we choose to listen to react. We don't listen. And something I've learned throughout, my many teams as well, is that people just don't listen. They don't. But
it's a good thing. It's a good thing, Sesh, because it's a good thing when they don't listen, because when their time comes for them to listen, they will. And they will not ignore what's in front of them. Remember, we're not the judges of somebody's path. We tend to do it. I'm not saying that we're not going to do it just because it's like that. We will comment, but it's not going to change anything in that person's life because I'm commenting about it, or I have a particular perception about that person, right? But we just need to, as individuals, we need to own our crap, really. That is what it's about. We need to, I'm sorry to use that word, but we need to own our crap. We shouldn't, because we live this life blaming people for this, blaming people for that. Yet, if you looked at the things that are happening and saying, what is in it for me in terms of the lessons I'm supposed to be learning? If you wake up to that and understand that whatever actions that you take after that, whether good or bad, they all have consequences, because transformation can never be without consequences. So the consequences you do, what you think, what you say, the consequences are yours. They're not going to go to somebody else. So I would like to say that to the degree that you're not mindful of your thoughts, your words, and your deeds, it's to the degree that you will manifest suffering, because you will continue saying, people are doing this to me, people are doing this to me, and you continue to suffer. But if you wake up to the fact that there's a lesson you're supposed to learn, and there's something you're supposed to change or transform or shift, you will continue to suffer. You will continue to suffer. And that suffering is yours. You can't blame other people for it.
I'm laughing because, you know, something just came to me. You know, I've been telling Pelo, I've been saying this to you. I do believe I'm going to change the world, and I will change the world, and I know I'm going to. You know, I started off saying that, you know, you and I have become such close friends, and you know, I said to you that we're going to partner up and we're going to change the world. And I think hearing what you just said right now, how people, you know, they continuously look at the victim. They continuously look at the blame towards. They don't look at themselves. They don't look at the mirrors. They don't look at the reflection of what they're seeing. And that for me is, and storytelling is about that. Reflect on yourself. Speak your truth. Speak so that someone can hear what has overcome the challenges, but the things that you see, and other people is going to look at it so differently. It's not going to be the same because we all interpret things so differently, right?
Yeah.
Farah, she said, children are the best teachers from my experience. She said the blame games.
Perfect.
Yeah, she said, and she works a lot with children. She's actually a coach as well. And she says the blame games don't serve you. 3 fingers pointing back is so amazing.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah, it's just, yeah. It's quite...
I've had a lot of people asking me, and I mean, especially with the coaching sessions, you find that people don't really understand what this whole thing about awakening is, transformation, and all of that. Maybe if we look at children, how children are fearless, how children do themselves, like, you know, when they say, do you, boo, they do themselves, they become who they are. They so authentic. That is what is required of us. We're always looking around to see who's doing what, and I want to do what they're doing. I want to be like so and so. You're unique. You've got your own greatness. So why are you always searching for other people's greatness as a benchmark? No, that's not why we were created. I mean, imagine if all of us were the same. Life would be so boring, right?
Absolutely.
It would be so boring.
I always say people are constantly seeking for answers. They constantly, if I have a look at, you know, one thing about open mic is that I've networked and I have connected with a lot of people around the world, and people are constantly seeking for answers, constantly, no matter what it is, constantly. And I said to someone that I connected recently, and I said to her, you know, if you actually look at yourself and look inside, you're going to find the answer.
You know what you're looking at when you're looking inside, though?
What?
Okay, I have this theory.
Yes.
And I don't know if it is a theory, though. Hey, it might just be reality. Consider this. Okay. What if before we were born here on the planet, like in the spirit realm, what if we know every single thing that's going to happen in our lives, right? And we know what ultimately will free us from the bondage of being here, right?
Yeah.
What if we know all of those things? So then your spirit comes down into your body, and then your spirit knows all of these things, but your body doesn't know. And so the spirit is searching for those things that it knows. And everything that's happening is reminding it of, okay, when this happens, then the next thing will be this. And then the next thing will be this. But now your mind doesn't know these things. So your spirit is pushing you in the direction of the answers, because why now? Why are we having this huge wave of spirituality, of awakening, of transformation? Why are we having that then? It's highly likely that it's our spirits reminding us of where we're supposed to be. What if even this COVID thing is part of that? You know, I keep going back to that because it's like the biggest thing that's ever happened on the planet. It's shaking everyone to the core. And when I was thinking of what to share during this session, one of the things was that the Enlightenment age is upon us. We cannot ignore that. The Enlightenment age, where the light in us, that is the spirit in us, is saying, I'm in search of my truth, my unique truth. And so people are in the quest for something. I mean, when I started this journey now being aware, one of the things that happened to me is that I felt a void. I felt a void. But the minute the void became intense, I got drawn to spaces where there were some of the answers that I woke up to. So it is not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's something that's meant to happen, right? It's meant to happen in the way that it's supposed to happen. I have a void, and then suddenly a teacher appears. It means my spirit is ready. So there's a lesson there for me. And then when I go into that class, what I find in that class is this thing that I've been searching for, maybe not even knowing what it is I was searching for. So I wake up to it. And so that awakening is exactly that. Because right now, as I'm saying, right now, there's a heightened wave of spirituality like you won't believe. People are saying they're so connected with who they are. They're calling it their higher selves. They're calling it God. They're calling it the universe. I know. But the best thing is that our spirits are making us come to our senses. We're becoming more aware of our spiritual existence, that we don't begin and end on the planet, that there's more to our existence than just our physical bodies. And I think right now, when you're seeing a lot of people dying, one of the things that you start thinking about is your own mortality. And so this wakes us up from the slumber of assuming that we will perpetually be on the planet. We won't be. And so painful as it is, losses and everything, if we look at the context of what is happening, we can start realizing that our spirits know better. When somebody's about to die, that's when they're least fearful. What is it that their spirit knows that their mind does not know? You know, we should start asking ourselves those questions, because even if those people wake up just before they die, there's still no fear. There's this almost, they're looking forward to the journey ahead, which journey we don't know because we're still here. But you find that part of those lessons is knowing that we shouldn't live our lives in fear. We shouldn't live our lives in fear. Everything that happens for a reason, and let that reason not be to be scared of living your full life and a life of purpose. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you make
it feels like I'm waffling right now.
You are making perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. So your brother has a question for you, your big brother, Natyi.
Which one? I've got two big brothers.
Your big brother.
My biggest brother.
Yes.
Okay.
He says, question for Pelo, why did her soul choose the parents she chose?
Yo, is that from Budimteto? Is that from Budimteto?
Budimteto, yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. I believe that my soul chose. I'm saying wow because I'm touched. I'm touched by that question, because we had the most amazing parents. Sash, if I could have my life over, I would choose those parents. I would choose my siblings. I would choose my life as it is, because I understand why each of those people had to be my teachers. My parents were the model of how to love yourself. Because I believe that in every way they demonstrated how they loved themselves, how they were giving people, how they were able to stretch the love for themselves outwards to other people. They were always embracing people, right? They were always welcoming, and they were people's people. So that kind of love that they taught me, there's no greater teacher than those two beings. I mean, I can give you many, many, many examples of why probably my spirit or my soul chose them, because they were the greatest teachers for the journey that I'm in. I mean, it's interesting that most of the things that happened in my awakening happened when they were already gone. And the only thing I could hold on to were the lessons they taught me, not through only talking. They were models. They modeled those values by doing. So I learned through their doing. How they were doing life is how I learned from them. I think my greatest primary teachers were them. And my siblings continue to be my teachers. But my parents, I believe my soul chose them because they were supposed to be the foundation of who I'm supposed to be on the planet, and they became the role models of who I'm supposed to be on the planet. So I believe that I chose them because of the way they are. I think I chose them also for the values that they have. I'm saying they have because I still feel they always with me. And I still feel when I'm getting lost, they bring me back on track. And so I still believe that they're not gone. They are gone in the physical, but in spirit, they're still with us. I think they still continue to teach me. When I see certain things happening, I remember some of the things they used to do, and they remind me of how to be. And they were content. They were content. They were never competitive, comparing themselves to other people. No. They were always content with who they are, striving to be the best of who they are, and they never competed against each other either. I think that's another lesson when you learn that from a parent, that even your spouse should not be your competition. Your spouse compliments you and works with you towards common good. My parents were the greatest teachers. I mean, these are people that loved people. These are people that are very giving of themselves and of things that they had.
Yeah. He says thank you, by the way. Yeah. So very interesting. For us, says Pelo, you're making a lot of sense. She says, lucky you, I was born with the wrong family.
It's never wrong.
Yeah, so I'm also getting that. It's never wrong. It's never wrong.
Don't judge your parents. Don't judge your parents. Your parents, remember, in any single lifetime, there is no parent that goes to a school of parenting. Your parents are perfect for you. They might be alcoholics, they might be junkies, they might be in the streets, but they're perfect for you because there's certain things they teach you that nobody else can ever teach you. So there's never a wrong parent. You chose these parents at a spiritual level for certain lessons. Maybe what you need to do is to refocus, find out what the lessons were. If it's things that you consider bad that they did, ask yourself, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from those things that I consider bad from these parents? It might be they giving me something that I should not be doing in the future when I am a parent. I mean, there were times when I was younger, there was a time when I was younger, and my brothers will attest to this. There was a time when, when I was, when I judge myself now, I say when I was a stupid little kid, I pointed fingers. Okay, 3 pointing at me, but I pointed fingers. I'm like, they are adults. They should be doing this. They should be doing that. Look who's a parent now. And I'm realizing that those things were happening to teach me something. And so I took those lessons and I'm applying them in my own life. It doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect, but understand your lesson is not necessarily going to be nice. Most of the lessons are painful. Most of the lessons that we get are painful. And in the pain, though, don't get immersed in the pain. In the pain, find the lesson, because that will be your biggest pillar, the lesson that you learn from that. So please, 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 my dear friend, don't call your parents wrong parents. They can never be wrong.
She says she understands that. She says, do we all choose our parents? She's just curious about that.
Oh, yes, you chose your parents. Yes, you chose your parents. Yes, you chose your parents, but maybe stop looking at them as parents. Look at them as your teachers. Ask yourself, why did these teachers manifest in my life? I called them to be the ones that are going to give birth to me. So why them? Why not somebody else?
she's
That would be my
loving.
answer.
I think she's definitely connecting with you, Pella. She's loving what she's saying, and I think, yeah, I mean, parents, they play a huge role in, you know, in your kid's life, in society, in what we do, in how we say, and how we, you know, act as human beings. Even with yourself being a parent and how you reflect, it's not necessarily the same as to how you were brought up by your teachers. Is to say that
Exactly.
you would be that same teacher, you know, to your children as well. It would be very different. Some people mimic that, some people change that, and they change it for the better of what they believe it would be a better teacher, you know what, for your kids. So Farah, I hope that answers your questions, and I hope these make sense to you in the sense of family and you know, choosing the parents that you chose for, definitely for a reason.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah. So maybe let's go back. Let's go back to something. I'm now taking over your
No,
your role.
don't worry,
But
go.
I just feel this is something that we need to talk about.
Yes.
This is something that I feel we need to talk about. We need to understand that lessons are not necessarily going to be nice. Just because it's a lesson doesn't mean that you're going to have that red gown and graduate as a doctor of pain or whatever. It's going to be painful. The best lessons are the roughest lessons. They don't come in a nice way. Remember, the universe will not wait for us to catch up. It will force us to stop looking outside at the parents, at the friends, at the siblings, at everyone, at friends and colleagues and everybody else, at the government. It will say, look inside yourself, look inwards, find that which will direct you to the right path for you. Yeah. So if you find that, well and good, but continue seeking more, because this journey doesn't end. It's an ongoing journey. Once you've mastered one part, you get new challenges. You master one part, you get new challenges. So it's not always going to be smooth sailing. Yes, there are those that are nice, but not every lesson that you get is going to be nice.
Yep. Totally agree with you.
I spoke to you. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I spoke to you about the enlightenment age that we're in. Yes. This age, they call it the new age, the age that we're in, where there's all of this heightening of spiritual awareness and awakening and all of those things. What we need to understand is we need to be held accountable. We can't always even blame our parents. We can't even blame anybody else, because we need to own our journeys. You know, at the end, it's not good. At the end, I believe if we have to account for our lives, you can't say, no, but my mom did this and my dad did that. What did you do? So we need to own our journey. We need to live a life of inspiring even our own selves, inspire yourself to be greater than who you are at the present moment. Yeah. Understand that you will not always flow smoothly. Things are bound to happen. Things are bound to happen that will shake you to the core. When they do shake you, wow. I mean, when they do shake you, yeah, you will be a professor in that. If it's pain, you'll be a professor of pain. But now don't now start telling people this and that is painful, guys, don't do it. This and that. No, find what lesson the pain is giving you and help others so that they have a better experience of that. If they are still supposed to go through pain, you're not going to take away that lesson for them. They will still go through pain through other ways. So don't take the lessons away from them. Allow them to go through their own unique lessons, but be mindful of your responsibility, because as human beings, we have a responsibility to co-nurture. So we nurture one another as human beings, right? So we need to know that my part in nurturing is this, my part in nurturing is that, but I am not going to take away the lessons from the people that I'm nurturing. That's just something that we need to think about, because we always think that, oh, when somebody is going through a journey of transformation, they become like angels. No, you don't become like an angel. It's a journey. It's ongoing. You will make your mistakes. You will continue to make them, but be mindful of what you're supposed to do for others, because you're not born for yourself. You're born to express who you are in the world. Who is the world? The world is everything, nature, and everything, every living being. So make yourself useful, make your spirit useful for the betterment of this world that we are in.
Yeah, tough love, Pelo, tough love. That's what it is. Yep. It's tough love.
Yep.
And we don't have to know the answers to everything. We don't have to understand why certain things are happening to us now. You know, and to your point is when you flow with what's happening with you and be mindful of the challenges and the experiences that you go through, you know, we should be learning from those mistakes and those challenges. There's always a lesson being taught in these things that we experience as human beings, and we all do. And it doesn't make you to be the angel, or it doesn't make you to be this perfect person that now you're going through transformation. You are, no, you're not. You're far from that.
Very true. Very true. Very true, Sesh.
So this enlightenment age that you speak about, you know, I think people need help with that. I think people,
with understanding the age that we're in, they need to understand the age that we're in and the responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
Because we tend to outsource responsibility. We like things that come to us when they're nice. But when they're not nice, we disown them. But we don't want to give, you know, we don't want to give. So we need to understand it comes with responsibility. This age that we're in comes with accountability. We cannot live in a world where we are blind to even our faults. We cannot live in a world where we're not responsible in the way that we conduct ourselves, because we're not going to be, today is the last day that you will be the age that you're in, right? Today. Tomorrow today. You are a different age, right? Yes. So make sure that today counts in everything that you do, in every interaction that you have. Make sure that you make the day count in every single person that you make an interaction with. There's no wasted moment in life. We would like to believe that there is. There's no wasted moment in life. We tend to judge the interactions that we have and say, no, that was a waste of time. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe that was the one area where you were supposed to learn something. So there's no waste of interaction. When you're interacting with somebody, you're learning, they learning, you co-learning, right? So it's something that we need to be mindful of. In this age where we are, the universe is forcing us to go within, because remember, now we're sitting at home, we're having to sit and reflect on how we conduct ourselves. A lot of people are saying they're getting lots of, what do you call them, vivid dreams, and they dream as if they're being directed towards something. Find that something. If it's for you, find it. If it's directing you to pray more, to meditate more, do that. Because now we talk about these things, but we don't do anything about it. Then it becomes a total waste, truly, because if you don't do anything, remember what I said initially, when you know, you can't unknow what you know. So when you know and you still don't do anything about it, then you need to be accountable for that. So in this enlightenment age, the age of light, where light is forcing us to look at it, and it's forcing us to look within, in the light that we have within. In this age, there is no time to waste. We need to make this time useful. We need to make our existence count. We need to make our contribution to societies and to every single being that we come into contact with.
Yeah. I think some people are very, there's a lot of fear in a lot of people in the sense that not knowing. People always want to know. Again, going back to that seeking and understanding and the unknown, because people are of the opinion of unknowns is, they very fear. So looking within themselves, and I think COVID has done that quite elegantly in terms of reflecting on oneself.
Wow,
right?
Elegantly, yeah. Okay.
And I'm saying elegant, right? Because we would have never done the things that we are doing today. We would have never stopped the rat race the way that we have stopped it today. And I'm saying it's elegant because it is elegant. We would have never, think about it, we would have never done the things that we have doing today. Businesses, corporates, small businesses, entrepreneurs, those type of businesses would have never done what we are doing today. Not at all. It has taken people and have put them into the most uncomfortable they've ever been in their life. And it's elegant. I think it is. It's absolutely elegant. I love it. Right? Because people are not adventurous. They're not people don't go and look for things. They don't seek. They don't see what's outside of their comfort zone. They wanna be close. They wanna be comfortable. Because of the known, right? It's that unknown where it's fear and it's scary for them. And COVID has given them a place where they have evolved into something that they never would have thought otherwise. I think COVID, it's elegant. Listen, we have definitely have lost lives. It's sad to see what has happened from that perspective. And however that has treated people. And it's sad to be put in certain situations. Businesses that have shut down and things, when people open up their businesses again, they do need to look at different ways as how to sustain themselves and not be back into that same position again. So strategy and how you think about going about your businesses would look different, would seem different. Why? Because you yourself, it's different. You're not that same person that you were 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping entrepreneurs and businesses that come onto, when we come out of the space, and we're going to come out of it, and when we do come out of it, it's about what is the world looking like for you right now? I'm looking forward to see what our business is doing. Listen, I'm in corporate, right? But I myself is an entrepreneur, right? In the sense that I embrace what's happening right now, and to see how businesses will shape is something that business owners should look at differently, because the norm as how we used to do business 20, 30, 40 years ago is not going to be the same anymore. And I think people, and I think people themselves are also going to realize, what's scary? People don't spend much of their time with their family than they actually do at work. And that is what scared them the most. They've realized what their families are about. They realize about their spouse, their kids. They spent the most time I think one has spent with somebody in 1 year than they would have done in 5 years. So again, and I'm saying the word elegant, COVID is elegant in its own facet and in its own way. I mean, you've been working with a lot of cases in terms of COVID. You've been dealing with wellness and people's mindset and stuff. People will always see the worst in things, but they'll never see what COVID has actually done for the world. They haven't. And I can tell you, if I have to ask people, share your COVID stories with me, they will give me all the negative ones, but will never give me the positive ones, because there are a lot of positives out there in terms of COVID. There's lots. But we don't embrace the positive, but we'll rather embrace the negative and how COVID is actually pulling us to stay at home. But there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I like how you talk about the things that we probably perceive as negative. One of the things, it's showing us that we are one. This thing started in Wuhan. Now
Yeah.
it's global. Now
Yeah.
it's global. That's how connected we are. Even in disease, we are connected. We are one. And in finding solutions, we are one. But over and above that, we need to go back to the drawing board as humans. We need to go back and say, what is my responsibility right now? When I have 10 kids at home, a husband that is whatever, and we're sitting there at home, facing that reality of this person is my spouse, these 10 children are my children. When you look at that, you then say, how do I make these things work? How do I create a family that is a harmonious family? Instead of saying, we're walking past each other, we don't even see one another. Recognize the people that are right here next to you before you go and recognize everybody else out there. Because you find that you wake up in the morning, the one person is already gone, kids are at school and all of that. And when you come back, others are already sleeping. So you never get time to interact with one another. You're more in your family with your workmates than you are with your own family. And so if this is what COVID is doing, it's probably teaching us to appreciate our families, to give more in making our families what they're supposed to be. The lessons that we don't get in a school that teaches us how to be parents, how to be spouses, those lessons are probably coming now. We're needing to find ways of making our families work instead of running away, because sometimes people use work and other things as an escape. Going to the pubs, going to nightclubs, going to church, even church. I mean, church is the one place where it's supposed to be fellowship. But how do you get into fellowship with strangers when you don't have fellowship at home? If you need to pray, why can't you pray with the people that you stay with? Why do you want to go and fellowship with strangers when you've got people that probably need what you know way better? Share, if you're going to share scriptures and whatever, share it with the people that you stay with at home. The little that you have, share it with them. So maybe those are some of the things that we're thinking of, the pain of COVID. We're not thinking of the lessons of COVID. Remember what I said about the universe? It's not going to wait for us. It's not going to give us a hug and a pat on the back. We need to rise to the occasion. We need to realize that this moment is probably the only moment we have. We're learning to appreciate people that are dear to us because they can be taken away from us. Maybe if that is one lesson we're supposed to learn, let it be then. And when you become aware of that, then do something about it. Don't act like you don't care when you do care, because you don't know. You might wake up tomorrow, that person is gone. In fact, in this same day, by the evening, that person might be gone, because that is how COVID is giving us lessons. And so we look at the painful part of COVID, but there is a positive side to it. There's a lot of light in it. Maybe we're being forced to go back to the drawing board. I mean, remember when we were in lockdown 5, level 5? The factories were off. There was no pollution. The environment was appreciating that. You know, nature was appreciating that. Then now we're back and there's smoke everywhere, pollution everywhere. But we need to now be smart and say, what did we do wrong to nature even? What can we do to correct it? Find new ways of being kind to one another and to nature, starting at home.
And I'm hoping that starting from home, where big corporates and businesses realizes the value of what they found when they were at home. Because having that solution going outwards now, right? Exactly to your point, what you said now, Pelo, right? Having businesses going outward and doing what they need to do in a different way is what's needed right now. Business cannot operate the way that they're operating. Guys, it needs to change. People's minds, the way that they do things, the way that they think, how they think, in what they see. People don't listen. because then there's a new, again, an enlightenment age, and that enlightenment age is bringing people that are seeing things very, very different. Corporates cannot run the way that they have run for many, many years. The mining, I've been in mining, the mining industry specifically, it stopped production. They halted. What did they do when they stopped? Did they look at sustainable way of mining? Did they look at different avenues as to how do we address the economy? How do we address the environment, right? If you look at farming and agriculture, the things that they had to do to sustain and how they had to pivot into a very different way of outlook in life as well. So for me, I'm hoping, and I'm truly, truly hoping that as much as people have reflected and been with their families and understood the value of that and the light that they saw when they were with each other, I'm hoping they take that back to whatever business they are in. Because as much as we're saying, you know, people at work complain about traffic is like this, the people are grumpy. You've had that break, that distance. Now they come back and say they miss that. People are actually saying that they miss it. So it makes me think. Traffic. So yeah. So when you were in it, you were complaining. When you're not in it, you're still complaining. How does that work? You're never satisfied. They never ever satisfied. So
that's why we need to stop looking at the outside. Because everything is happening to us, right? Everything is happening to us. And so whether it's good or bad, it's still happening to us and we will not appreciate it. But if we look at what it is, we're supposed to learn from these things, then we will find something better or a way that is better or different of how to be.
No, absolutely. For us is that COVID is indeed a gift to push us to become more of what we are. COVID answered my prayers to spend more time with my kids and work creative projects that I have to put off. And she says, you know, you spot on and it's on point. I mean, that's what we mean. I mean, you know, to be honest, I mean, that's where we are going today. People are not appreciating what's right in front of them right now. What is it can we do? What is it that we can change? I'm of the opinion there's certain people, and I believe I'm one of them, that will change the world. That will change that world, that will make that difference, no matter what it may be. People think it has to be this big, impactful way. It doesn't have to be big. The smallest of things that we do has a rippling effect, and it has that cause effect that it will change something in the world, no matter what it may be. Whether it's at home, whether it's at your kid, whether it's at school, doesn't matter where it is. It does have a very impactful way of doing it. So I think there's people that see it as good, but I think most of the people don't see it as good. They see it as a blame game, being the victim of it, right?
Yeah. Well, when we talk of transformation, we talk about losing that mentality of being a victim to a mentality that is of ownership, and things don't happen to you. Things happen in your life for a reason, instead of being a victim of circumstances. I mean, if you look at a car that comes and hits you and you're drunk, you're walking in the street and a car hits you, are you going to say it's the problem with the driver, or is it the problem with you? You need to fix that. Don't drink and walk in the street. Simple. That's exactly what we need to do with everything else. We need to stop being victims of things. We need to own our lives. We need to be responsible and accountable. There's this when I spoke to you about the insights that I've had in this journey, that I continue to have. I mean, one of the things that I said was at the end, what others did to you will not matter as much as what you did for others. So why should we focus on something that does not matter? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. When you complain, what are you changing? Because you're going to have more of the same. So you need to find a way of using what you're complaining about in order to make a change in the world.
Yeah. So I don't want to bring this up, but I think it's a good point to bring up. Gender-based violence. Wow.
Yeah. Fine. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about gender-based violence.
I mean, They banned alcohol again. Obviously, it had to do with gender-based violence. You know, there was a conversation with the youth last month about gender-based violence as well. And for them, it was about, yes, we need to change the policies and we need to change the penalties for, you know, the courts, and to see how we can take a stand in doing so. All good and well, and not disagreeing with it. I do believe is, what can we do now? What can we do now to prevent or to have some type of measures where we take our power back? How do we help gender-based violence? How instead of becoming reactive, let's look at something to say, okay, what are some of the things that we, again, we, right? Me. What can we do to help the situation? You and I have spoke about this, but yeah.
Yeah. Sesh, I think the one disease, I will call it a disease, even if it's not.
Yeah.
But the one disease that we have in this country is of thinking that the solution will come from somebody else. Always thinking that the solution will come from somebody else. The second problem that we have, we are so over, what is this? We are so over legislated. They can create legislations until the cows come home. But if people are not doing anything about it, it does not matter, because people will always break the rules. We need to change the way that society sees itself. And by the way, this gender-based violence, it's not even gender-based violence, it's just violence, period. We are violent, we are a violent country, period. And so we need to change certain things. There's certain lessons in the way that people in the olden days used to live their lives. I mean, there's certain things that that made sure that people are accountable. For example, you find that in a community, if you do something wrong, they hold you to account. Now everybody just folds their arms and they see things happening and they don't take action, they don't do anything. And so people that are the perpetrators of aggression and violence get away with it because nobody holds them to account. And sometimes you find that people get applauded for doing the wrong thing. I don't want to say it's gender-based violence. Maybe it's because we're seeing the number of women that are being murdered. Have we looked at the number of males that are killing one another? Have we looked at the number of females that are killing males? Because that is happening as well. So let's just look at violence in this country, period. Because if we're going to put it in boxes, we'll never get it right. Let's look at what are the reasons why we have violence in this country, and what are the things that we can do to change the way that we view life and start respecting life. Because I think the culture of not respecting life is what is creating this right now, because we don't respect life. And I'm not being disrespectful to GBV. No, I'm not being disrespectful to that. But I'm saying, let's look at it in totality. Let's not look at pockets of it. Let's look at it in totality. Because, I mean, you find that, for example, taxis, I'm just going to give just a wild example like that. Taxis, you find that there's people that are shooting at each other, you know, the taxi violence, where people are shooting each other. The passengers become victims, and the drivers are shooting one another, and nobody owns up to any of that stuff. That's male to male violence. And so we need to change the culture of violence in this country. We need to find ways of being different, thinking differently, respecting life, because at the bottom of it all, we need to respect life, because you shouldn't think that it's just easy to kill somebody because you know you're going to get a lawyer and then get away with it. It shouldn't be like that. What is it that we're doing in our communities to make sure that there's a mind shift around issues of violence so that we don't justify things? For example, somebody will say they slapped you because you spoke in a particular way. Okay, isn't there a way of addressing that rather than beating somebody up? Or no, I beat them up because they don't listen. Do you think it's going to build them more ears if you beat them up? You know? Yeah, so it's a whole lot of things. If somebody doesn't do what you want, you kill them. What kind of thinking is that? If somebody doesn't obey what you want, then you kill them. If somebody is challenging your authority, you kill them. What type of mindset is that? So we need to start there in terms of changing the mindset of this country. We need to start there. And we shouldn't put things in pockets, but we also need to empower. We need to empower one another. We need to empower men. Because remember, some of the policies that we have in this country are literally creating or emasculating men, right? Yeah. And so the various cultures the various subcultures that we have in this country will make those men feel small. And so maybe they feel aggression is what's going to push the agenda of being men, you know, to feel important, to feel that you still have the power, you are still the head of the home. Maybe things like that start with everything that is in place right now. We're empowering girls. Are we empowering boys so that they're better men in the future? You're finding so many initiatives that are geared towards girls, but how many initiatives are there for young men? To say you want these young men to be confident. You don't want these young men to feel small. You want to build them. You don't want to destroy them further. I mean, you go to job opportunities. The one thing that's been overdone is that there's opportunities for women because companies and various other stakeholders need to redress the organization so you have more representation of women. But in the process, it's at the expense of men. So we need to create balance. We can't continue to have this because now there's going to be too many women that have got whatever. And then now all of a sudden we need to create something for males. And then when we create that something for males, now the women are complaining. We need to create something that's going to be balanced for all the genders.
I agree with you. I think it's a
that is my view.
Yeah, no, it definitely resonates with me in the sense that you cannot create gender-based violence for just females and help them to empower themselves, which I think is needed. But at the same time, you also have young boys that are growing up. And for them to understand what does it mean to respect life? Not life. And I'm saying life in the sense that, you know, if the youth of today don't see the value of that, they are not going to be able to excel in life. They're not going to be able to move forward. And they're going to play the victim. And it does start, you know, with the young children of today and how they see things and how they view things and how they uplift themselves as well. And I truly.
And their pain, Sesh, what I'm bothered by is not the repercussions of how this country operates. What I'm bothered by is how we raise our boys. You know, they are raised so that they're not in touch with their emotions, because when they're in touch with their emotions, they are called sissies, they're called weak, right? So we label them. No, boy, don't do that. Girls do that. No, boy, don't cry. You're a tiger. Remember, tigers don't cry. What are you saying to that boy? So when they grow up and they don't have emotions, they're not in touch with their emotions, they do things that hurt others and don't feel anything. What do we say? Do we take ownership of that, or do we blame it on the person that is committing that crime or doing that action that's hurtful? So we need to understand that the violence also is nurtured when we raise these young boys, saying that we want them to be brave young men, and we don't allow them to be who they are. We want them to be something that's going to be seen to be strong and brave and then the next thing, when they are socialized in that manner and they become the kind of people, the kind of men that are hurtful in society, we start complaining. We need to own it. We need to own it from home. We need to own it and not outsource it to other people, because once these kids are grown up, nobody can change that, because now it's already entrenched in their minds, in their psyche of how they are supposed to be. So fathers should be role models for their kids. Fathers and mothers should find a way of raising kids in a similar way, not to say, no, the girl is weak, now you are a boy, you need to do the hard stuff. They need to they all need to do the hard stuff, so they all learn that life is not easy. They all need to learn. They need to all be in touch with their emotions. Don't say you're not going to love a boy because he's going to be weak and sensitive and whatnot, and then you're going to over love a girl. Love all of your kids.
Yeah, true. So Doc says, thank you for the spiritual enlightenment. We need more spiritual grounding now, more than ever, as we navigate through COVID testing period in our lives. So thank you so much, Doc, for actually, coming through and being part of this. He's actually has to leave, so he's got a 5 p.m. So just some comments on the chat for you, Pelo.
Yes.
Fra says that, yes, true, violence is learned behavior and feeds the ego. And then Lulam says, what role can parents play for boys and the community at large?
What role can
parents play for boys and the community at large? I think you touched on it already.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be more cooperation between parents and communities. I think we need to be more organized than ever, because we've seen this this type of existence that says me and my kids, me and my this, and maybe go back to some of the lessons of the days gone by, where you found that a community is not about me and my husband, or me and my wife and my kids, but a community is the broader family. A community is a village. A community is a school that's got all parents that work in cooperation. Find platforms where parents can have these dialogues and find solutions in ways that we can, things that we can change in how we raise our children. I think that's very important. I think it's important for us, what Doc has just touched on, this thing about spiritual grounding. We do all things and we forget that spiritual grounding is a big foundation. It's a big foundation. We're drifting away from it a lot. We're drifting away from it a lot as a collective. We need to find a way where we can use the spiritual grounding to create a foundation for our children. Because now it's like every man for themselves, Everyone will see what they're going to do for their kids. But we need to find a way without necessarily creating the divisions where you're Christian or you're Muslim or you're this or you're that, without necessarily creating that. But the spiritual grounding that says to a kid, I am a spiritual being. Yes, I am in the physical realm. I am living in the physical body, but there's a part that we never nurture, which is the spiritual part, which is a very significant part of our existence. Firstly, because we are spirits first before we physical beings. And if we don't bring that as part of our foundation, how do we then navigate life without that aspect? Because that also gives you that understanding that you need to respect life. Because if you're spiritually grounded, you will respect life. If you're not spiritually grounded, you will not respect life. So I believe it starts there. It starts with having those conversations at home between the parents and their kids, and extending it to all the other platforms, whether it's schools or it's churches or it's whatever those groups of people in community are. We need to use those platforms so that we can assist our kids. Our kids need to understand life is something that is valuable. And every single person has got only one life. You lose that life, that's it. They need to understand that. It's not a game. You don't gamble with life. And so and also they can respect their own lives. Because it starts by respecting your own life before you start respecting the lives of others.
Yeah, absolutely true. I couldn't agree with you even more, Bello. I think parents underestimate the role that they play as teachers, as people that, teach their kids today of how to be grounded, no matter what religion they are or whether it's being spiritual. I think parents have lost that, not realizing the consequences of what their actions are all about. Kids are very bright. They are authentic self. They they look, they listen, they hear, and they replicate what they see and the behaviors that they've been passed
Yeah.
on to. And basically that's what's been happening. And we
Mm.
tend to look at things very, very differently. And that's one of the things I'm hoping that people have found their space and the light inside of them being where they are today. And however the world has changed, and whenever we do come out of this, when we do come out of this, that the change that they bring when they go out is an impactful change to the world and for themselves and for their families. That's all I can hope.
Yeah. Look, insight number 2 from those insights that we spoke about, the responsibility to fix this planet and humanity starts with self.
Yes. Yep.
Starts with ourselves, and the responsibility to fix what we, because we need to own that we have messed up, is ours. We can't mess things up and expect somebody else to come and fix our mess. We need to fix our mess. We're the ones that mess things up. There was once a time where kids were respectful, parents were respectful towards one another. We didn't look at whether you've got money, you don't have money, whether you stay in the street, or life was respected. There was a time where life was like that. What happened? What happened? We need to find out what happened. And then we fix that. We need to fix that. We can't expect somebody to wave a magic wand and fix that for us. We need to do it. Excuse me. We need to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It again, coming back to self, right? It's the ownership that you have within yourself in order to make the change that you need to make, no matter what it is that you do or see or hear. So. Hello, I think we are way out of time, so thank you so much. I know you want to end off with a poem for us. Are we still ending off with a poem? And any final words to our audience that have been stayed on?
I have 2 things.
Yes.
Around the journey of transformation. One, recognize, this is something that I got from one of my teachers, Dr. Pelokazi Natyi. A statement that says, you are more than what you have become. You are more than what you have become. The second statement that I'm going to make to end this is that we are all born to die, right? So what matters is what we do with the dash. You know, when you have a tombstone, they have they born on this day, died on this day. What matters is that small dash. What we did with that dash is what matters. At the end, that's what will matter. All right. So yes, those are my last words. My last words, as if I'm dying. Okay. Okay. So the poem that I'm gonna share, the last poem that I'm gonna share, is called "I Am Love." Oh, by the way, love for me is not romantic love, right? Love is love as in purpose, who I am, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It goes a little something like this. I am love, I speak with the wisdom of the ages, I speak with the cleverness of modern times, I speak to humankind, and I speak with a voice that is eternal, I am love. I incarnated to find places that defy love, to heal the spaces that have no love, I came to Mother Earth as a woman, and what is a woman if not love? With my heart and my spirit I nurture, with my conscience I sense the void, with my hands I feel the coldness of the spaces and places that defy love. I am love, I come from a place that knows no hatred. I come from a space that knows no darkness, I drink from a source that gives without expectation, a source that creates expecting no reward. I know I shall walk this planet, but maybe, just maybe, I shall never experience what it feels like to be loved, because love is who I am. I am love. Why seek me when I am me, love? Look for people that have no love. Look for places that are filled with hatred. And that is where humankind will find me, healing with love, sharing humanity, giving my heart, touching that child, saving that space, a space of nil love. Nkaisis, that means greeting in Nama, one of the languages of the people of the sun of whom I am a descendant. I talk with authority as the daughter kaMthuthuzeni kaNyathi, unyana wamabhele, ovapi omnoma nodubandlela onontanda kuphakanyiswa, abasuka phansi kwentaba zakumabele ntombi kwisithili sakucofa imvaba, nonombeko kwanogemane, the daughter of the royal zamampondomise, ojola, ongwanye, oqengebe, ophahlo, mphankomo, the daughter kaNkosi uMfundzwana nenkosikazi uMasukude kwilali yasemkhangatho phansi kwelamampondomise. I represent the descendants of the people of the sun as their blood still runs through my veins because I'm one of their children and I'm one with them. I stand in front of you naked in spirit, having stripped myself of all the titles and all the honors I've been blessed with in our host planet. I stand here as Intombi yaseTabase, phansi kwentaba zaseBhazia, a girl who, when she was growing up, used to drink from the pure waters of the wells. I stand here as the little girl who grew up during times of abundance, times of caring and sharing, during the age of unity of spirit in the communities that I was raised by. Apho umntwana ebezazi ubungumntwana nakuyena uphina umzali, who always respected the wisdom of the elders and drank from the springs of the wise words and conversations. Apho uQamata reigned supreme, and we took pride kwizikaka, kwintsimbi, kwinkciyo, amabheshu nbalantoni na. I'm talking about the days zemichocho, imidudo, imiguyo, intlombe nangembizo zasebuhlanti, where we embrace the visitor as one of our own, never looking down upon others, and certainly never looking at people with suspicions, always ready to welcome a stranger into our humble homes, sharing with them the delicacies of villages zethu. Dithetha inkobe, amasi, ubusi. I'm talking about the days zamandulo phaya, where every man was my brother and every woman was my sister. Thank you.
Absolutely fabulous.
Thank you, Sash. Thank you for having me.
I'm even going to read. Wow, you've touched me. You've really, really touched me. Pelo, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words. You know, I always say people walk into your lives for reasons, and you have certainly walked into my life for a reason.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such an honor. Thank you so much to your viewers and to all the people on the open mic. I really appreciate your time, and sorry that we went overboard with the time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Yes, thank you so much, guys, for everything, for the viewers that's online, for our panel that's actually on the Zoom call as well. Thank you so much for joining. We upload these videos onto the YouTube channel on Open Mic Foundation. Please subscribe. We have an Instagram handle as well for Open Mic Foundation, and obviously you can catch us on Facebook as well. Pelo, I want to say thank you so much for your time, your words of wisdom, you being just you, and having you on Open Mic and just embracing the talks that you provide on Open Mic is always a blessing. It's always insightful, and the wisdom that you share to us and to the world is very enlightening. The views are, it's a great Sunday, having this type of wisdom passed on to you and setting the tone for the week is going to be absolutely profound. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.